What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch back here with your NFL Week 16 best bets. This video, I'm focusing on my favorite over-unders of Week 16. Before I give you my favorite over-unders, make sure that you do spike that like button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more NFL best bets every single week here on the Bottom Line View. If you want my bets, you can check out my Patreon, link in the description. Every single week of the NFL season, I give my patrons all of my bets that I make with my real money on Patreon. You can get that for $5 a month. Support me as a creator and also get some picks to potentially make some money. Let's get into those over-unders, starting with the Saturday slate and the night game, and that is the Arizona Cardinals and the Indianapolis Colts in Arizona. Very nice environment for a high-scoring game. The over-under is 49. I will take the over in this game. Why? I like the Colts to be able to move the football on the Cardinals. Their ability to run the football on the Cardinals. Not just a little bit, but to gain some explosive plays in the running game. On top of that, I look at a Cardinals defense that I think is slightly overrated, especially in the secondary. I think Wentz can take advantage with Michael Pittman down the field and attack some of those weaknesses. Frank Reich is a very smart coordinator, and I believe that this Colts team, whether they run it, they pass it, screen it, however they do it, I think they're going to be able to move the football, and they know in this game that they need to score to beat the Cardinals. So they are going to go for it on fourth down. They are a very aggressive go-for-it team, and that to me leads to the over. So I like that side of the football. The opposite side of the football, the Colts do turn the football over very, very well as a defense. I do believe that they, like I said in my other best bets video, can maybe contain Kyler Murray a little bit and limit those big plays. But I believe that Kyler Murray is one of those few playmakers that is just special enough to make everybody around him better. And when you look at the Colts defense, I think there's a very susceptible zone defense that can be taken advantage of underneath, that you can move the chains against, and that you can consistently pass the ball against. We saw this in the second half of the Patriots game where Mac Jones kind of consistently dinked and dunked his way down the field and made a few big chunk passes in order to get his team back in the game. The Colts have been a very fast start team. If the Cardinals do fall behind early, I think that's the ideal game script for this game to go over, because I think that's going to force the Cardinals into a lot of passes, a lot of Kyler Murray magic, and a lot of points. And overall, I believe both these teams will score into the 20s. One of them will get into the 30s, and I believe that is going to be good enough to go over. So over 49 in the Saturday night game between the Cardinals and the Colts. My second over-under is the Chicago Bears and the Seattle Seahawks. This is an under 43. I am a big fan of this under, and the reason is I just can't possibly imagine a game between the Seahawks and the Bears. Like, just think about it. Is this game going to go over? Is there going to be a lot of points? What is the projected score in your mind whenever these two teams play? Just think about these two teams. This is an under all day to me, under 43. And the reason is Nagy, Carroll, they love to have absolutely atrocious offensive play calling. They love to run the ball on early downs. They love to punt. They don't love to go for it. And they love to play through their defense. And both of these teams, their identity is playing through their defense despite having dynamic quarterbacks. They're going to run 20 plus times each. And their offenses are just very inefficient. They don't really create a lot of easy completions. They're very downfield oriented in the passing game. And that leads to a lot of inefficiency. And I just feel like overall these two teams are going to try to win a game that's 20-17. They're going to try to win a game that's 17-16, that's 17-13. I don't see a conclusion where this game is 30-20, where this game is 27-24. It's very rare between two teams that are built the way they are, that have the mentality the way that they do. The Bears and the Seahawks are in under. So that is my second pick. My third over-under play is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Carolina Panthers, under 43. I like this one as well at under 43 because the Bucs are very beat up on offense, facing a very good Panthers pass defense with Stephon Gilmore, who could likely shadow Antonio Brown and limit his usage and ability to make big plays overall. On top of that, Tom is having to really adjust to a lot of younger receivers. He's got no Mike Evans, no Chris Godwin, no Leonard Fournette. So he's having to adjust to the likes of Le'Veon Bell coming through the door this week, Scotty Miller, and Brashad Perryman, and guys like this who, sure, are capable, but they're not fantastic. They're not Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, and this Panthers defense has been a top 5 passing defense basically all year, and they've got a good pass rush, a good enough one to disrupt the Bucs enough to force Brady to kind of dink and dunk his way down the field, to be conservative, because Brady's going to know that he's not going to want to lose this game because he understands on the flip side that his defense is probably going to be able to limit the Panthers offense. And Cam Newton's really not been good at all for the Panthers. They haven't been able to pass the ball. Their offensive line is the worst in the NFL, in my opinion. And they're facing a very good pass rush in Tampa Bay. Tampa's getting healthier in the secondary, which means their defense is just going to be just not passed on. I just don't see a threat from the Panthers here to be able to pass the ball, on top of the fact that the Bucs have one of the most dominant run defenses in the NFL, so the run game is going to be kind of irrelevant. I just don't see how the Panthers score more than like 14 points in this game, on top of the Bucs just not having all of their weapons. It leads me to think that this game is going to be relatively low scoring, sluggish. The Bucs win, but it's kind of an under 43. My next game is the Minnesota Vikings and the Los Angeles Rams. I will take the over 49, the same total as the Cardinals Colts game. I like this game to go over. When you look at the history between the Vikings and the Rams, these two teams have been able to put up points. Kirk Cousins versus Jared Goff in the past, but Sean McVay versus Mike Zimmer. And Sean McVay has really had the upper hand on Mike Zimmer's defenses, being able to create big plays down the field in the passing game, being able to create mismatches. I remember one game where Cooper Kupp legitimately was being covered by Eric Kendricks for about a half, or Anthony Barr, one of the two, and he had like 200 yards. It was ludicrous. It was ridiculous. But the Rams were slicing and dicing, and now you open up the ability of Matthew Stafford's arm, and typically has had some success in the past versus the Vikings defense to be able to pass the ball with the Lions. Now he's with the Rams, and the Rams should be able to consistently run the ball well enough to open up that threat of the play action. That is where the Rams' big plays come from. I think the Rams are going to be able to do whatever they like offensively. I think the Vikings' defense is significantly overrated. Their pass rush isn't fantastic. Their secondary is one of the weakest in football, and the Rams have mismatches everywhere. So the Rams are going to score 30 plus. On the flip side, the Vikings offensively are pretty strong, especially when they're having to come from behind in a game. They open up the passing game. Cousins can throw it to Jefferson. Cousins can throw it to Thielen, who should be available. Cousins can throw it to Tyler Conklin, or even Osborne, who's proven to be a decent third option. Dalvin Cook should be able to run the ball versus the Rams, which will keep the Vikings out of these ridiculous third and longs. And the Rams have been weak versus the run, so I expect both offenses to have success, and I could see a shootout in Minnesota, another dome environment where you don't have to worry about weather. The fifth over-under this week is the Washington football team and the Dallas Cowboys, under 47. This number just feels too high for two teams that know each other very well, two teams that are in the NFC East, two teams that have already played, and two teams' defenses that I feel are playing better than their offenses. I do think the Cowboys' defense is getting a little bit more hype, but I actually think they're playing better than their offense right now. They're taking the ball away. They're getting pressure. They're playing very well versus the run. Washington's limited with the skill position talent that they offer, on top of the fact that Washington should be healthier on the defensive side of the ball to slow down Dak Prescott and company. So on both sides of the ball, I just think the 47 total doesn't make a lot of sense considering, yes, I understand Dallas has been like this offensive juggernaut for most of the year, but if you actually look at their totals and their scores from recent weeks, they just haven't been that impressive, especially in the passing game, whereas really you need to attack Washington. You need to attack them down the field. You need to attack their cornerback group, and I just don't know. Dak is not really on right now, so I like this game to be kind of slow and sluggish NFC East football, and I think that it's going to be hard-fought, tight, and neither team's going to be wanting to make that mistake. And that's the type of game it typically is in a division matchup late in the year. It's typically lower scoring than the first. So give me the under 47. My sixth over-under pick, which the Christmas edition here, I'm adding an extra pick, is the Buffalo Bills and the New England Patriots under 43.5. I think New England's defense is going to completely, and I don't want to say completely shut down, but I think they're going to have a handle on what the Bills offer offensively. The Bills don't have Cole Beasley or Gabe Davis in this game. Emmanuel Sanders is beat up. Stephon Diggs is their only real threat in the passing game. And Kyle Duggar is back to take Dawson Knox out of this game one-on-one. So really, Belichick's going to resort two people to Diggs, force Allen to find Isaiah McKenzie or whoever else he's going to throw to, and that's all the Bills have. I mean, they have Josh Allen running around making plays and Josh Allen throwing, and they don't have a running game. And they won't be able to run the ball on New England consistently. If they do, it lends to the under anyways. I mean, run the ball, sure, then I'll take that for the under. But yeah, Belichick did a great job in the first game. I understand it was all windy and stuff, but nobody was open for a majority of the day. And the Patriots could have multiple turnovers in that game. And really, they scored a touchdown off of N'Keal Harry hitting his head. So, like, I don't really understand where all these points are going to come from the Bills. The Patriots are the best defense in football, in my opinion, especially when it comes to playing the pass. And their pass rush is going to dismantle this undermanned unit of the Bills, who are missing potentially 2 to 3 starters. So, I just think New England is not going to allow the Bills to score over 17. And then on the flip side, New England's going to run the ball. And New England's going to possess the ball. New England's going to have a similar game plan to the first game with just a touch more passing from Mac Jones. They are missing their deep threat Nelson Aguilar. They are potentially missing Ramondre Stevenson. So those two players are explosive elements to the Pats that they won't have. And the Bills' defense is fairly solid. They're not just going to be absolutely thrown all over by Mac Jones. So I think this game is a under all day. I could see one team just getting in the 20s and one team landing in the teens, and that's probably going to be the final score, which is most likely going to land under 43. So those are my picks for the over-unders of Week 16. Let me know in the comments your favorite over-under for Week 16. It's Mitch. Thanks for watching. Gronk, spike that like button. Don't forget to check out Patreon and the rest of these videos for Week 16. It's Mitch. Merry Christmas. Peace.